Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music. Today we're going to do Avey Tare's first solo album, Down There. Avey Tare is half of the brain behind Animal Collective. And if you don't know who Animal Collective is, you obviously don't listen to indie music because they're kind of a big deal in indie music. The other half of Animal Collective is Panda Bear, who I know that his...
Well, I mean, there are other members.
There are, but those are the two main guys.
They're the vocalists and they write a lot of the stuff. So yeah, we'll clear that up. Keep going. Sorry.
No, that's fine. But I know that we're big fans of Panda Bear's last solo effort, which is Person Pitch, that we both loved that. And actually, there's a lot of similarities between, especially in the production, about what was happening on Person Pitch with Panda Bear and what's happening on Down There and what Avey Tare is doing. But you know, this is going to be similar to Animal Collective, which is very psychedelic, experimental, kind of. Indie rock is not really what you want to call it. It's just more psychedelic, experimental stuff. You're going to hear lots of sounds you've never heard before.
It's even got some like dubstep influences in there.
And I actually read a lot. I read a lot of comments on different places out there on the reviews of this album, and people. I actually read a comment. Somebody was like, "I'm so high right now, and this album is awesome." And that's exactly what I thought when I was listening to this. This album would have been so much better if I were exceedingly high at the time of listening to it. But since I listened to it at work, that's clearly not possible. But Tom, what do you think about Down There?
I thought it was.
Oh, that's dirty. Anyways, go ahead.
God damn it. I liked it. I'll be upfront about this. I didn't really love it, but I didn't hate it. That right there probably tells you, if you've watched this show before, that's going to be a 60s score for me. That's pretty much the definition of the 60s, is that I don't think I'll probably come back to it, but I didn't think it was bad.
Right.
It's like... Okay, here's the deal. I'll just get right into it. Avey Tare's really good. Animal Collective's really good. Panda Bear's really good. When it comes to Animal Collective, I actually probably like the stuff that Avey Tare does better than Panda Bear. When it comes to their solo work, I like Panda Bear better. This album, while it was pretty fun to listen to, it was just kind of self-serving and kind of pointless.
Yep.
The big thing is, when you get musicians that are going to be experimental, they're going to find things that they like, and they're going to attach themselves to it and kill and just beat the idea to death until they can't think of anything more to do with it. And the thing is, I feel like that's what Avey Tare did here with vocal effects. And that doesn't really make any sense because this guy's been doing this for long enough. He's no stranger to vocal effects. He's no stranger to weird effects in general. So I don't understand why he had to go so above and beyond with that aspect of the sound, because there's pretty much strange effects and processors on the vocals throughout the entire damn album.
And to the point you can't really hear what he's saying.
Yeah.
If you look up the lyrics are actually
the lyrics are good. I especially like the lyrics in Heather in the Hospital.
Yeah,
great lyrics in that song. But a lot of times you have to dig through these freaking processors on the vocals that mask what he's saying, and he's got a good singing voice.
And
he's
not
a good
only that,
writer.
I mean, but another thing I think that Avey Tare takes here is the Animal Collective in general follows a very specific format, but these songs take it to the next level. They all establish some sort of beat or groove using some sort of effect or sound that they're looping, and then the song builds around that, and the vocals get louder and louder, and stuff's added and added and added, and every track is like that, and that's something that I found to get repetitive by the end of the album. Still, I like that better than the ABAB format.
Yeah. Now, he did use a good sound to make this album cohesive, and he uses these weird kind of samples of people talking, which he puts the exact same vocal processors on as his own voice.
Right.
But it does make some cohesion. It lets the tracks transition well from one to another, so it makes this kind of swampy, like you're going African safari kind of sound.
Yeah.
And I like that aspect of it, yet it's still just... in a way, while that makes it sound better on the surface, it almost pisses me off even more because there's just such a disconnect and a randomness between the songs. The songs themselves don't really seem to have a lot to do with each other. I know you have more to say about that.
Yes. And overall, like one thing I want to note, something that I like that I think is going to drive my score to be a little bit higher than yours, Tom, is that production. This really reminded me of Person Pitch by Panda Bear, Panda Bear's latest solo album, which actually Panda Bear's coming out with a new one sometime soon.
Great!
I'm really excited. But production-wise, this is kind of similar because. Aside from the effects in the processors being used on the vocals, the vocals are turned down in the mix, and that's something that I look for in something that Animal Collective does, because their focus isn't about that. It's supposed to be experimental and psychedelic and moody, and that's what this is. I mean, this is all about atmosphere, and he really lets some of the synths and other electronic elements come out more and just wash over you, and the vocals kind of hide in the background. There's literally times, you mentioned swampy, like you're going through a and I love that analogy. To me, I felt like sometimes it wasn't, where Panda Bear, like it sounds like when you're listening to Panda Bear, like you're hearing this from afar, like from another room, like it's upstairs and you're in the basement. Well, here, I almost feel like you're in a swimming pool under 10 feet of water, and there's and Avey Tare's playing up above.
That's a good way to put it. And another band or artist that reminds me of is Deer Hunter and Bradford Cox, Atlas Sound.
Women.
Because this is actually a little fatter. Yeah. It's a little cleaner and a little more low end and presence to it. But definitely the sound is still somewhat similar.
And production styles.
Yeah.
And but overall, I really felt like what really got me about this album is that it's experimental in its truest form of experimental music. It is experimental just to be experimental. Yeah. And I feel like this happens sometimes when you have somebody who's in a big band and they go do some solo work. What tends to happen is that you have some extra material that didn't quite make it onto the main project's album. So the side solo project gets some of these table scraps that get beefed up into made songs. Brandon Flowers, for instance. I know that those songs were different. Tom York did the same thing on The Eraser. You can name a ton of band leaders that have done solo projects, and you're going to have the same thing. Songs that were not on the band's album that get refleshed out as a solo track. And what happens is it just sometimes it loses the point and focus that you would expect out of the normal band or the big band, because the solo project is just experimenting with sound. It's just the artist having a good time and getting some ideas off their chest. And I like that. But that's what this album is, and I really feel like Avey Tare down there just experimented for the sake of experimenting. And what that does is it makes it so that the music really doesn't add a lot of value. I feel like if you're listening to something, you should, the music and the vocals and just the production and the intensity should all work together to achieve a certain goal. And I don't feel like it always does that here. There's no reason here. I'm not sold on it. And I just feel like it's just kind of nice and moody, and that's just about it. That's just how I feel. And to me, music needs to be about something. There has to be some reason for doing it, because otherwise it's just noise. That's what separates this from just distortion. Is intent and emotion and noise. You gotta put it all together. So overall, I did like this album, but I feel like this is a 69 for me. Well, I'm gonna give it a 70 because of track 5, which isn't even one of my favorite tracks on the album, but it's called Glass Bottom Boat, and that's the coolest name for a song ever. Yeah, it's track 4. Glass Bottom Boat. How can you ever have a song that's better than Glass Bottom Boat?
And it is a really good transitional track, and that is one that really fits the theme of the album about that kind of swampy sound. That's absolutely really good.
What'd you think, Tom?
I'm going to go 64.
Yeah.
I like this album. It's good. I enjoyed listening to it okay, but I'm just kind of meh.
Yeah. What do you guys think? There's a lot of Animal Collective fans out there, so obviously people are going to be watching for this album. So what do you think? Do you like this? Is this on the same par as something that Panda Bear's done on his solo projects or Animal Collective's work? Let us know at YouTube or www.velocitiesandmusic.com. I am Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are BIMTV, moving music critique forward.